Ladies and gentlemen, it is finals time, but unfortunately there's a draw, so rather unfortunate. However, though, they're just teasing us. They're just tempting us. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a patch, a little bit of an update that was going on prior to this match, so we do apologize, of course, for that being the case. However, though, it is time to, of course, break down our finals for tonight's Prime $2,000 4v4 variant. Of course, majority of that prize going toward first place. Just going to make sure I'm in Codcaster, everything's good to go, and hope that the Codcaster gods, the COD gods, allow us to go to first person, because there has been a glitch, for those who don't know, in Codcaster, and if it does happen, nothing that we can do. That leaves you with a sky camera, and you unfortunately can't do anything. However, though, we do have NexTThreat going up against Luminosity Gaming in what should be a very interesting series, kind of coming into this overall variant tournament. Was expecting maybe one of the two teams to definitely be here, but to kind of break things down, of course, map by map. Of course, we'll be heading to St. Marie du Mans for map number 1, USS Texas on Search and Destroy for map number 2. Then we got Double Ardent Forest for CTF and Hardpoint for map 3 and 4. And then, of course, for game number 5, if it does come down to it, we will be seeing London Docks, Search and Destroy. Question being, will it go that far? How far will it go? Feel free to, of course, tweet at us on Twitter at UMG Events and let us know what your thoughts are, what your predictions are, because I think there could definitely be some interesting ones for tonight. Of course, how each of these teams have gotten here. NexTThreat, I want to say has had an easy road, but definitely kind of facing off against the more interesting side of competition, I think it's fair to say. It was in their quarterfinal matchup. They ended up facing off against Merkin Clan, having a fairly easy series in that one, winning that 2-0. And in their semifinal matchup, they just beat a team known as Dumpstered, who actually took out EasyG, Beyond Reality, and FaZe Clan, and they ended up beating them 2-0. So NexTThreat obviously playing pretty well, beating guys who have obviously had a pretty strong tournament up into this point. And for the side of LG, pretty much expected to see them make it this far. I've obviously played incredibly strong when it came down to the 2Ks, and of course already in pools for CWL Dallas. Beat Saga, they beat Team Envious, and they beat what was it? I believe Your What's Up or something. I forget the exact team. Your What's Up. That was the team, which consisted of Legal, Human Jesus, and Co. And won the CTF 7-2. And their last match, of course, semifinals. So that's how both these teams have gotten here. I know it was a lot of information at once, but I just wanted to get it out, just let y'all know exactly what's happened up to this point. But of course, it's time to hop in here for map number 1. Currently solo casting. Jen, aka Lemon Key, we did have to say goodbye, so we do, of course, thank her for casting whenever she did. But of course, time to focus our attention here for map number 1. This guy's Censor, man, aka FaZe Censor Douglas. He's been doing some damage when it came down to the respawns up to this point. In the prior 2 matchups, of course, not really even equaling out to the group on LG. Definitely going to be able to kind of change up his style and how things are going to work, but has had some pretty good moments so far in tonight's tournament, and looking forward to seeing what he can do with that SMG on the squad. Looking forward to the rest of World War II, but looking on. First Hardpoint is done. Now we're heading toward Winery, and at least off the start, it is Octane and JKap, the 2 main assault rifles for the squadron, currently locking things down. But to the back lines, got to be aware of Ricky making a push, most likely with his FG42, as he can definitely do some damage, but has to have the teammate support from the front. Kind of a one-sided pinch, but now having Methodz join alongside of him and picks off Octane. Censor at the same time get the headshot on the JKap, and just like that, John falls as well. It's a perfect break that comes through for the side of NexTThreat. Not one player dropping, and Nagafen doing the damage toward the front line is now 6 and 4, pushing out and challenging at a long range. Octane will make him pay for that particular push, but still a phenomenal break. And that's a scary sight to see. That was not something that you're prone to see when it comes down to this LG lineup. But kind of overall when it comes down to the NexTThreat team, of course, new additions coming from TBD, of course, being both Nagafen and Methodz, dropping Mochilla and Miracles, who are both now on Soar Gaming, along with Sinful and BL Fire. But a lot of roster swaps kind of coming through, of course, in preparation for CWL Dallas, as you'll be able to, of course, watch both of these teams. NexTThreat through the open bracket, I believe, and LG, of course, already solidified for pool play. As when it really comes down to this overall series, I think it is going to be a huge factor as far as Hardpoint is considered on Slang, I think, for sure. Of course, you got Octane 9 and 5, you got John Slack, JKap, all these guys who can really go off. And when you're honestly looking at the side of NexTThreat, to be totally honest, I mean, none of these guys are really known in your minds, most likely, as top slayers. Methodz kind of toward Infinite Warfare and a little bit on the edges of Black Ops 3 was kind of known for being one of the more slayers for his team, whether it's been on Echo Fox or the latter parts of Infinite Warfare and whatnot. But, you know, that's been a major task for Methodz, or for Nagafen's teams in the past. I mean, that was a lot of the reasons why we saw teams like Rise Nation, Elevate, etc. kind of struggle, just because the slang wasn't there, and he wasn't the guy to kind of do that job. It was mostly on the backs of guys like Aqua, Looney, etc., Felony, and whatnot. So, I mean, he's not really known for kind of being in that main Slayer role, but on this team, that's where his role changes a lot of the time, or at least on paper, that seems that it's going to need to be the case, because, of course, Ricky and Censor aren't known for Slayers themselves, mostly known for support and objective play. It's really going to rely a lot on Methodz and Nagafen to kind of get that stuff done. And so far tonight, it's been kind of a trade-off. Methodz had a fantastic series versus Merkin Clan, doing fantastic work in the Hardpoint. And then in the last series, where they faced off against Dumpster in the semis, it was, man, Nagafen destroying everything. I think he might have went double or maybe even triple positive in the Hardpoint. So they've had some good luck coming to this point. But how will they face off against an incredibly talented Respawn team like Luminosity is the question. This is the biggest test of them so far in this tournament. And they're definitely going to get met with some FGs and maybe even the SMG up close from John to the faces. So with that, as of course the first rotations will start to conclude, got to be aware of this man, John. I think we've been able to cast over LG in a few of our variant tournaments so far throughout the year, and he has just been a one-man wrecking crew with that SMG. Of course, when it comes into St. Marie Dumont, it's more SMG favored. Going to see quite a few more PPSHs than you would prior, as I believe it's currently 3 being rocked out for a second there for the guys on LG, Slack, John, and JKap, especially First Hill. I think it's fair to say. A lot of close quarter fights and whatnot, but Octane being the main assault rifle player, the FG kind of in the back lines, as it is currently a 125-74 advantage. As at times like this, you're going to see the boys from NexTThreat start to struggle, and this is when the rotation battle needs to go their way. They've got to lock things down. Of course, last set of rotations, we saw them have an excellent break, which is probably the reason why they're still even in somewhat of a, somewhat in this game up to this point. But of course, JKap finding the scrap points, and another rotation battle will be set. Censor finding a big kill, however, does drop to Slacked. Pre-firing is Josiah Berry, as he'll get joined by a long set of Octane to get the work necessary, as Slacked is earning streaks. Does have that fighter pilot in his back pocket. Still looking forward. Censor looking the wrong way, actually checking through middle. Isn't able to spot anyone. So Time currently in possession of NexTThreat as they tiptoe their way inside of the hill. Back toward Winery. Still a lot of valuable points being awarded, and Ricky and Methodz are doing a fantastic job at it. However, the swarm of LG coming into play, and near turn on there for Methodz. However, his teammates are there, and a big battle actually. Nagafen ends up falling, and despite if Nagafen probably would have found that kill, most likely would have been dropped there in the end. But of course, rotation coming in toward back parking lot as the final 12 seconds will be awarded toward LG as they begin to stack this current advantage in this series. Of course, keeping in mind, these are best of 5s. We've been playing best of 3s up until this point, as the fighter pilot will reign throughout the map. Every map, of course, meaning a lot, but best of 5s, at least you got a little bit of wiggle room. And despite the big advantage that we're seeing right now from LG, if they were obviously to win this hard point, of course, Search and Destroy can be the main focus for the boys on NexTThreat. Since they're holding the back lines, but just not having a whole lot of success, it seems. Is taking a look at that scorecard in your top right. Outliers to be looking out for, at least up to this point. Nagafen, 19-15. Of course, played incredibly strong off the break. And then, of course, for the side of LG, right now you got Octane, 21-13. I was kind of curious, and I think a lot of people are as well when it comes down to the competitive Call of Duty scene, is how is this guy going to perform when it comes down to boots? How is he going to kind of perform when it comes down to that back AR, kind of playing an anchor role? Of course, he's already known for that. For those who have obviously watched Octane's YouTube channel and stuff like that, obviously uploads a number of different videos every single year about how to anchor in Infinite Warfare, how to anchor in Black Ops 3, etc. So this guy obviously knows how it's going to work. And one thing that I've noticed about Octane is that he just plays the right way. Like, it's just, a lot of times you'll see guys challenge things where they don't really need to, as you see John having a nice little performance there with the SMG, of course, letting Slack know that the bullets for the back lines are him. But one thing that I can really speak about Octane and to be able being able to kind of cast over him through a lot of his career, as he just happens to snap on the head of Censor in that particular moment, is that he, like I said, he just plays the right way. He checks the right things. He doesn't need, whenever he obviously realizes that challenges aren't needed, he doesn't make it. He really doesn't make any unnecessary plays, and having the amazing shot that he already possesses is just an insane thing to have, and honestly is a fantastic addition to any team who is needing an assault rifle player, as showing exactly why. It's just lighting things up when it comes down to being inside a restaurant, as it is a current advantage of 226 to just 124 seconds. Methodz and Co. needing to have a strong performance. Octane probably for the first time in his life holding a PPSH. But this hill definitely calls for it. A team kill actually comes in. Methodz takes out his own squad mate, and it looks like Octane is here for the trade. Tries to find the second one, but Nagafen will be there for the pickup, as it is going to be the guys on NexTThreat having to ride this train, having to ride what is currently a very difficult track, a hill that potentially is not possible to climb, as 147 to 226 starts to become less and less likely. And still looking on here. Boys from LG can easily make that rotation, as I believe we actually see a flamethrower being brought out from Methodz. Kind of interesting play, but one that is not necessarily uncommon when it comes to close hard points. Of course, many remember back in Black Ops 3 Stronghold Hill, known for having, I believe that was actually also called Bunker, I want to say, but known for the flamethrower ability back in those days, but still rocking it out, and obviously does some damage. Interesting strategy to see being brought out, but Methodz happens to pick up one on JKap, and like I said, it is a lead for LG, but one that can be ended. Holding strong, up close fight, and Methodz has some team fire with him, is able to take out one. Machine pistol in his back pocket. Looking on, and here comes the rush from Octane. Perfect timing to make that one forward, but here comes Ricky in the back line. He also drops with the FG42. Battle still happening, but it is LG who is currently locking down this hard point. 10 more seconds needed. Can they do it is the question, but here come the streaks. Will they do any damage is the question. John still looking forward. Players coming at all angles, but this is a fantastic team push coming forward. Octane falls, and our Nagafen will be locking down the time. But the nade comes in from JKap, a fantastic one at that. And Methodz just has to hold on. Has to find this kill. And yes, Methodz with a huge pickup that will at least make that we need a rotation. And he also has the glide bump. 2 players in front of him. And if he can at least find one that's big, does exactly that. And also has the fighter pilot. This is the perfect hill to call the fighter pilot on. Finds one onto JKap. Finds another one. Finds 2. Finds 3. Methodz doing the damage. Ricky locking down time in the hill. Can NexTThreat make this incredible comeback, as LG desperately need to force their way inside of the hard point? John ends up dropping, and Nagafen and Censor are there, but Slacked is trying to do the work. Octane's locking down the time, and Censor falls. It looks like it is going to be LG's game, as NexTThreat aren't able to get this clutch at the end. A fantastic and a valiant effort, but one that is not good enough. As an insane map number 1, as I've already nearly lost my voice in the sickness of the winter so far, as that map number 1 definitely not helping, but still an insane map 1 there, as we end up seeing a very decent comeback, really, from the guys on NexTThreat. One that I didn't really know was possible, and kind of locking down time. The streaks obviously coming from Methodz. I mean, that was just such a huge kill on, I believe that was JKap, to guarantee the time inside of Winery, and then of course the push coming into parking lot has the streaks for that. So massive props to the guys on NexTThreat. Granted, they lose map 1, but they make a huge momentum boost there at the end despite the loss. So keeping in mind, Search and Destroy on USS Texas will be map number 2. And honestly, if you're the guys from NexTThreat, I feel like you're kind of happy with this pick. I feel like you're kind of overall happy with the overall kind of draw of this map number 2, just because of the fact that I think that this map can be a little bit more open. It's kind of more open to kind of finding those first bloods. Not necessarily that it's not based on strategy or anything like that, but just the fact that if you kind of play your picks correctly, kind of work as a unit together, you can kind of win rounds that way. It's not necessarily based off the overall slaying ability, it's more positioning. Back, ladies and gentlemen, to the prime $2,000 4v4 variant 4. December 1st. Of course, it's map number 2 between NexTThreat and Luminosity Gaming, as we're hopping into USS Texas and Octane, starting things off well. The headshot onto Ricky, the opposing sniper for NexTThreat. Starting off this round well is the boys from LG. JKap making his way forward onto this B-bomb site, planting that one down, however, receiving some nade fire. And Still looking on here. Fantastic early first blood found, and we'll see if they can try to retake this from the side of NexTThreat. But still looking for the pick. As a 4 versus 3. Slack finds one with the SMG up close, and just like that, Methodz falls as well. Nagafen in a 1 versus 4. Not looking likely. As most likely waving the white flag, and Slack literally just says hello, how are you doing, and just walks inside the door and destroys his life. So let's just watch this one again. Slack literally does not care. Literally the most confident man on the planet is Josiah Berry. That was insane. How many kills go that way? Slack finds a hat trick in that round, along with the first blood from Octane. Great teamwork from the guys on LG, but Ricky didn't really get to experience much of that round, as he's going to say, yeah, I'm just not interested in facing off against Octane again. Just not a big fan of that fight. But Nagafen says, I'll test my wits. Of course, known for sniping, especially back in Black Ops 3. The PL6 was one of Nagafen's favorite toys. And I think me and Burns actually discussed this during the Memorial, or second annual Memorial Tournament, was that we have no idea how this man used this gun. Like, it was just something that I just don't understand how he was able to use that. So speaking of snipers, though, Octane in back-to-back rounds, taking them out. And Methodz just chilling on the stairs, just waiting for his own demise, as he will fall. Back-to-back ones here from the side of LG. And this is honestly a map that I really like for the side of LG, for Luminosity, just because they have the ARs at range, right? They can have, obviously, you know, whether it's JKap or most likely it's going to be Octane, either with a sniper rifle or an assault rifle. They also have the fantastic SMG play up close for both Slack and John, which obviously is going to be lingering inside of middle, because this is either a very long range with the snipers or very long range with the assault rifles, and like I said, up close with the SMGs, which is exactly what LG likes to face you in, either very long range or very up close range. They could dominate you in both. And if you're in NexTThreat's position, you really need to be relying on some cheeky teamwork, and a lot of that would be based off of first blood, which is exactly what we get to see. But JKap responding for 2, totally ruining the party as Octane yet again finding another snipe. As LG is just coming out like a shot, man. Slacked, challenging Ricky on this bomb. He's making the PPSH look like an FG42. That was a nice shot. I'm not sure what's more impressive, that shot or Octane sniper pull up to this point. I mean, literally, you have 2 guys who are flawless and Slack, who has only died once, but is at 6 kills. Insane stuff for LG, and we could see yet again another first pick for Octane. He's just around that corner. His nades are being tossed. The smoke is as well. The immediate frag tossed out there for Octane does get hit markers, so most likely calling out to his teammates, hey, the bomb is most likely getting ready to go down, so fully expect to see some more arrows join alongside of him. Spots one going into radio tower, gets the call out. John finds 2. Here's the 3rd, and just like that, Ricky, last alive, does find 1. Can't pick up the 2nd, though. Wishing that maybe FMJ was still in the game. Whiffs the nade. I thought he actually whiffed the nade, but no. Happened to just narrowly get inside the bottom of that window, and now we are in a 1 versus 1. Ricky is somehow still alive. Doesn't even have the bomb. And now you get 2 vets to settle out this round number 4, Ricky and JKap. Bar versus FG42. And Ricky will wrap back to grab this bomb most likely. Does pick up the SMG. And it looks like he's going to go for the A site. Now, Ricky is known in his 1v1 career for not planting the bomb. And JKap should be able to secure this round, but Ricky actually going to hop on this one and plant it. Realize that JKap has to go for the challenge, and now Ricky's in a fantastic spot, but which way is he coming from is the question. Going on the hop up, and Ricky, can he find the kill is the question? No! JKap somehow is able to win the 1 versus 1. I have no idea how Ricky didn't finish that one off. I'm not lying. If you're Ricky, fully expect the full tilt there. I don't blame him whatsoever for being angry in that fight. But I have no idea how JKap just found that. And that's a huge momentum swing, not just because it was a 1 versus 1, but because now it's a 4th round in the books, an unanswered round yet again that the guys on NexTThreat can't find. Mr. Jordan Kaplan, I have no idea how you do it. And Octane finding yet again another pick, this time onto Nagafen, as Methodz just trying to pick up the pieces. And he can't find one on the slack either. Oh my goodness. And you can see these up-close fights. I mean, Censor, while he does find one there, FG42, not too prone to seeing him rock that particular weapon. But they just got to be in full frustration at the moment, as Ricky does go for the challenge here, does end up falling, as that's rather unfortunate. As it is 5 rounds to 0. 7-2 for Slacked, 3-1 for JKap, 6-1 for Octane. I know, I believe the Twitch chat is just now reacting to the prior round for Ricky. Rather unfortunate. I have no idea how that doesn't go his way. I really don't know. Like, he literally had found, what was that? I think that would have been a 1 versus 3. And let's look at the streaks, actually. JKap's got full streaks. I believe he's actually the only one who does. So I was thinking that maybe we have a fighter pilot or a glide bomb for someone else as John finds the first blood. Glide bomb will come out. Will it find anyone is the question. All hiding inside the middle, so JKap does earn that information. And now Censor and Methodz, last alive for the map, are up for the moment. Censor does pick up one, so nice team play at the moment, as it will be a 1 versus 1. Can JKap the Wizard do it again? Yes, Censor will back up pretty quick. Here comes the challenge, but oh my god, Censor literally just watched him walk down the stairs. Can he find the gunfight? Is the question, and JKap again! JKap, what are these 1v1s? How is he doing this? This is insane. Up close, the reaction from Jordan Kaplan. He just doesn't care. What is going on? What is happening? A hot 6-0 in map 2 from LG. And one that was not that it wasn't expected for them to go their way in the search and destroy, but like, what was that? What was happening? I'm so confused. And like, I don't understand. Like, I really don't know. Like, I want to break down that play. Like, oh, like Ricky should have totally done this, or you know, maybe you know, Censor in that situation should have done this. Like, honestly, in that last play for Censor, he clearly sees him going down the stairs, and JKap's like, wait a second, I might just go over to the stairs because I think Censor might be up here. I don't know what the intuition is or how JKap was able to stay alive in both those situations, but literally he finds 4 kills, and 2 of them are in situations where he absolutely should have died. So, props to JKap. I don't know how he does it, but he's a 2-time world champion for a reason, and of course does win that series for his team. As what? Let's take a look at the scorecard here. 4-1 for JKap, 6-4 for John, 8-3 for Slack, and Octane, who was constantly finding snipes. I mean, that's a major issue to be worried about when it comes down to him. 6-2, and on the opposite end, of course, Naga finishing off 1-6, Censor 2-6, and the game lobby is obviously closed, which of course is to be expected as the next lobby will open up, but it is a hot 2-0 advantage right now from the boys on LG. Welcome back, everyone, of course, to the Prime $2,000 4v4 Variant 4, December 1st. We just witnessed a very interesting, I think it's fair to say, search and destroy, where the man JKap just literally couldn't die. I don't know what it was, but it looks like in the CTF things are different. Ends up getting made for the first blood, and as it currently is, a 2-0 advantage for the boys on Luminosity Gaming, as they won Hardpoint on St. Marie Dumont, 250-222, and on USS Texas in a hot 6-0. Gotta imagine the overall morale has got to be there. So with that in mind, NexTThreat, how do they respond? Of course, with a group of veterans on this team, they can definitely try to build things back, but looking on, CTF and Armed Force does play a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more of a grind. As personally, I think with the new addition of adding 7.5 respawn timer really helped out this map a lot. And of course, being able to cast over it with the regular 5, it was really difficult, I think, for a lot of teams to kind of establish control because it was a constant fight. It was more of like 3 or 4 waves that you'd have to face off against to try and get in the enemy base, which I think is fair. Like, obviously, you have to face off against waves and enemy bases as Methodz finds 3 on a 6 spree right now, trying to pick off some of that needed momentum for the squad, trying to get the squad hyped up. As he's going to already call on that glide bomb, trying to get them off of that rotation. And we'll be able to shut down the most... What? Methodz? So we're probably going to find the most important person in the back, but does not. In fact, he'll do it with a gun skill instead. On a 7 spree, grabs the flag. And this could be an early flag capture for the NexTThreat boys. And I was thinking, why is he not going to kill Octane in the back position? But he's like, hey, I just want to do it with my weapon. Not a big deal whatsoever. But kind of keep in mind, players coming from Forest, you've got 3 of them from the boys on Luminosity. And here come the nades. Rather unfortunate in that situation, but Slacked, I believe, will try to go for the flag capture. And 2 big ones found from Octane. The third onto Ricky, as well as the return that could be coming in shortly. It looks like player number 2, Censor, is here. And Censor's going to go and grab the flag. He says, your 3 priest is great, but you didn't get the return. And so with that, well, if it's a fantastic play from Octane. The streak's coming in from Methodz yet again. He saves the day. But can they find the return? Player number 4 is here. Here is Nagafen, but Censor drops. Is Ricky here? No, Ricky drops as well. Slacked. Could he go big? Needs to go for the return. And yes, Slacked at the last second makes a huge stop. Finds 2 along with the flag return, as this one is scoreless still. A massive play being found counter after counter. Octane finds 3 big kills. The end up score streak coming in from Methodz. And then Slacked making a huge play, finding 2 and getting that return. Insane stuff coming out of those boys from LG as they get the last laugh in that particular scenario. As they're back in the base, 3 fall, and now Methodz off of that respawn. Trying to do anything he can. Watch this fire cut. Ends up finding one. And the JKap tries to turn on the second, but isn't able to make it work. As Slack will be able to walk in this first flag a lot easier than the initial. Engages the Hill Sky through. A nice dolphin dive there off the bridge. As it will be 1-0 in the books. As like we were saying in the other series for the guys on Luminosity, they end up facing off against Yo What's Up, which was Legal Human Jesus' team. And they end up winning CTF, I believe, on London Docks. They won that one at 7-2, which is a pretty dominant victory. So these guys definitely know how to play their CTF game and are not a squad that you would mess around with. Definitely try to keep the score low. And Censor will be able to grab that quick little return as 4 go down. Methodz being a part of both of those kills. By the way, Methodz, despite being down a flag, is currently 15-6. So now make it 16-6. Nearly 17-6. Insane stuff there for Methodz. But this is a guy who I was talking about earlier on in the tournament, who I think is without a question one that you have to be looking out for this year, especially being in the situation that he's in with this roster. I mean, he just is in a perfect position to really have a lot of success, I think it's fair to say. As pulls out the flamethrower, did it in Hardpoint, but unfortunately gets met with another nade, this time from Slack. So while Nagafen does have the flag in his hands, it will be a successful grab here from the boys on LG, but no, John ends up falling. A massive pickup there from Ricky, and can they get it is the question. Yes, just in the nick of time before the half does expire. It will be able to fire in that flag capture, as it will be 1-1 after our first half of 5 minutes. Insane stuff, man. Insane stuff to be watching. And at the half as well. What's Methodz right now? 18-8. 18-8 for this guy. But like I was saying, I think Methodz is really going to be in a prime position this year, as he's obviously going to be the Bronze Star for this highlight 3-piece. But he's on a fantastic lineup as far as like how he can kind of portray a slang. And I think he's really going to be a guy that we're looking at day 2, day 3 of events, and we're saying, wow, like this guy is at the top of his game. He's literally in the top 10 of KDs and whatnot. So definitely got to be looking out for, not just in this series, but the future of a lot of World War II tournaments. So, of course, looking on here in our final 5 minutes. Or will this one actually end out in overtime? That would be pretty crazy to watch. As I do have to mention, I do apologize for my voice. I know it's a little bit raspy. I've been having a little bit of the winter sickness, which I do apologize for. Can't really do anything about that, but I've been trying to cast the tournament tonight. Of course, want to bring you guys all the action from the Prime tournaments especially. So hope you guys have enjoyed the coverage. It's still looking on here. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Can NexTThreat rally? And take a look at Methodz' point of view. Does pick off one on Slack, but rather unfortunate when you walk into a nade. And you got to keep in mind as well, since the recent patch, of course, things like FMJ being taken out of the game, certain maps being taken out of the rotation, a lot has really been mixed up for a lot of these competitive players as far as like what the overall setup is, what maps we want to play, especially with the fact of CTF now being the 7.5 respawn timer. As I have talked about that a little bit already, but just how CTF plays on this map, let alone, is just so much different. A lot more passive, methodical play. Not as many rushes, not as many kind of 1v1 engagements, not as many engagements in total as well. Something to kind of keep in mind. Not as many streaks. A lot of the gameplay kind of slow down. As it will be the side of LG, who just takes over the base, walks through, and player number 4, Nagafen, does pick off one onto JKap. So at least is going to limit a little bit of that babysitting that's most likely being attached toward that flag carrier. Tosses out the stun, but ends up dropping. And so John does have some teammate support, and Octane makes his job so much easier. The quick little return along with the capture. As within the first 2 minutes of this half, we already see LG jocking up one on the board. Nice little side peek there from John. And this is one guy that you have to be worried about throughout a lot of this year. As long as the PPSH is still going in the game, John is going to be one that you have to be worrying about. Of course, very well known for his play back in Black Ops 2. Of course, revisiting the boots is incredibly lethal with those SMGs and always has been. And is incredibly close as well to that artillery barrage. Of course, that third streak, not far away whatsoever. Methodz has to be aware of this. Already has the glide bomb, already has the fighter pilot. And now John being aware, but Nagafen, that's a huge pickup. Finds two, but also shuts John off of that artillery barrage. And for those who don't know what the artillery barrage does, essentially it just acts as a permanent score streak that essentially just kind of locks down a certain circle, a certain portion of the map. And being in CTF, that kind of puts an end to about 20 seconds of a game. So in some cases, if that streak is earned for John, the game immediately becomes 20 seconds less if you are on the side of NexTThreat, just because of the fact that he either puts it on his flag, he puts it on your flag, he puts it in your base, he does it over a cut. It quite frankly literally lets you it basically allows you to have full map control over a certain portion of the map. So Nagafen finding a huge pick there will save his team some time. But for how much longer is that time? Is it even going to be valuable? As JKap by himself, the lone man, as the streaks will come in to try and help out the two-time man himself. Can he get this one in? Minute and 8 seconds, quite literally, potentially the nail in the coffin. And yes, the cuts are watched. John, Octane, Select, all doing the damage. As this flag will go through a 2-flag advantage. 55 seconds left, and the streaks are still raining in. Methodz 24 and 19, despite being down, and Slacked as well, rallying, getting that return. And he's going to score this one in as well. Insult to injury right now is LG. Feeling good, realizing that they are incredibly talented when it comes down to those respawns, man. And LG. Consolation kills in this match left over. As you definitely have to give credit, though, toward the side of NexTThreat. Had a great performance when it came down to this tournament. Of course, like I said, they beat some really talented teams tonight. Of course, they beat Merkin Clan. They also beat a squad known as Dumpstered, who took out EasyG, Beyond Reality, and FaZe Clan. I mean, they played well tonight. And you got to give massive credit, especially, I feel like, to Methodz as well as Nagafen throughout their slang. And this is going to be a group, when it comes down to tournaments, open bracket, whatever it may be, those two guys are going to have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Of course, as this one does end out 4-1, and it will be a hot 3-0 recorded in the books for LG. Congratulations, of course, to those guys on winning the prime $2,000 4v4 variants. And Slack, John, JKap, and Octane are your victors. But like I said, when it comes into NexTThreat, definitely going to hold their heads high. I know in little tournaments like this, you can obviously gain a lot of kind of momentum for your squad, try to gain a little bit of stuff when it comes down to future tournaments and whatnot. But overall, I think the S&D kind of did it for NexTThreat. I think they realized at certain moments it's just like, hey, like things just aren't working out. A lot of momentum is definitely graced in those moments as JKap somehow is able to stay alive in those moments. So massive credit to him and the boys on LG. But like I said, getting back to NexTThreat, they have a good group here. Aren't obviously preferred when it comes down to the respawns at times. But if you have Methodz going off like that, playing incredibly strong like he was, you got Nagafen who can obviously do some work in that slang, and Ricky, when he has to, he can kind of be up there in that slang as well, along with getting that objective work done, and if Censor can watch the cuts correctly and do some damage, this could be a scary squad to watch, especially in the open bracket, who definitely could be in contention for pool play at certain moments. I know, of course, recently changing up the roster a little bit, trying to get some more comfort, and I think they might have found it. I think they definitely found some really talented guys in Nagafen and Methodz to kind of round out the group. So, guys, of course, we do hope that you have enjoyed the coverage for tonight's tournament.
I'm cold, steel stainless.